live, but
I have to say it. I'm not going to be the Alabama coach. What?
How could you not predict at least 10 to 13 wins for next season is all I'm saying. But again,
Jesus Christ, 13 wins.
I said
you want an opportunity to play, and the Jets are giving me an opportunity to play.
I'm sorry. I just remember that you compared Gesicki to Kelsey. I'm sorry.
I did not. You know what?
About it, I am ready to get hurt again.
This was an odd one because I don't know if I was really hurt because I was coming from vacation. So it was like a 50-50 hurt. Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 14 of the Battered Phins Fans Podcast. We are live today because it's Thursday. I'm sure most of you are already watching Thursday Night Football. If there is a game on, I don't care because it's not the Dolphins.
But fuck, I forgot to set my fantasy lineup.
There you go. You see? I think I did. Who's even playing? Do you know who's playing? Because I don't.
No idea, but that's what always kills me.
There you go. Well, the reason I wanted to record today, Danny, was obviously yesterday you were celebrating something very important to you. And obviously for the first portion of the week, I was sick as hell coming back from my vacation. No, it wasn't COVID. But I'm a little bit better. I said, we need to get it in. There's 3 days until Sunday Night Football. And we're going to get rocking and rolling here with a few different topics. But other than that, sir, how has your week been so far?
It's been good. I've celebrated my 9th year wedding anniversary yesterday. And before I keep going, I'd like to wish you a happy early birthday since you're going to be 43 in a couple hours.
Wow. Don't let the gray hairs fool you. It's only 39.
It's just about. But other than that, it's been a pretty good week.
I appreciate the birthday love, man. Just 3 hours away. And I get to enjoy my birthday for a full 24 hours and hopefully get a birthday win. Usually, when it's my birthday, I do get dubs from the Dolphins on my birthday.
That miracle against the Patriots happened on your birthday, didn't it?
That happened exactly on December 9th, a few years back. But Danny, when I said, hey, here are the topics for today, I think we felt pretty confident what we're going to talk about. And obviously, we're going to talk Miami at 49ers. And let's get the big one out of the way first. No.
Hold on. You can't keep going. You need to divulge just about your vacation just a little bit.
Just a little bit. You got smacked
back into reality, not only because your vacation was over, but also because you came home to quite the game, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
So you got smacked into reality like twofold.
I did.
So how was the vacation? I hope that it was a lot better than the actual arrival back to Miami.
It was because remember, it wasn't just a vacation. The vacation itself was very relaxing. As far as other cruises that I've been on, and they've all been Carnival. This cruise itself, I would say lacked, even though it was their biggest boat. It's their inaugural celebration. It was like their inaugural ship coming out this past week. I believe we were the second voyage that the ship had gone on. Cozumel, Mexico. Whatever you do not show up with your Dolphins gear. And I told you we talk about this on the show. If they see you in your gear, they got so many shops. They got backpacks. They got these things right here. They got sombreros, which I do have a sombrero with the Miami Dolphins logo on it as well. But let me tell you, I was ripe for the taking, man. They saw me and they're like, hey, here, Miami Dolphin. And they got me, man. They got me at many stores, but why not? You're helping out them that obviously custom made these things. And then at the end of the day, I'm buying stuff that I'm going to appreciate because it's Miami Dolphins.
I guess. I just can't imagine going to Mexico and buying,
They had New York Jets
Dolphins
stuff. They had New York Jets stuff.
You know what I did see a lot over there? I saw a lot of New York Jets, those wrestling masks, like the Rey Mysterio type masks.
Yes.
They would have like team logos on them.
Yes.
Yeah. And I considered that one. I was like, this is.
Can you imagine my big ass face in one of those masks? I was like, I'm not even going to try this.
Coming down the bottom? Yes, I can.
All right, that shit would be dope as fuck. I'm not gonna lie.
It's pretty fucking dope.
But let me tell you, then getting back home, I was like, all right, finally back home. I get home and I get to watch your game first, and they lose. I'm like, all right, boom, my vacation's still going strong. And then my game starts, and lordy, it was a whole lot of things I wasn't ready for.
But let's get this straight. When it first started, those first 10 seconds, you were like, oh, yeah.
Danny, I was. But
yeah, for sure.
I didn't get too excited about it. You want to know why? Because I saw from the multitude of replays they kept doing, it was an error on the safety's part. He took a bad.
He got caught flat-footed.
Yeah. He took a bad angle at the route, and there was literally nobody behind him. So that's why I couldn't let myself get too excited about it, because I knew that it was an error, and I knew that I was going to be in for a long game.
But isn't it nice to know that even the best defenses respect Tyreek Hill so much that as he was going in motion to the right side, you saw the defense just switch their focus over there.
Yes.
And then Raheem Mostert also took off to the right, and then the middle linebacker chased Raheem Mostert, and then just Sherfield just went whoop.
Well, it's what you said. It's Tyreek Hill does more than just catch the ball and lead the league in receiving. He 100%. Is the epitome of the greatest distraction on the field.
100%. Yeah. And that's why, and again, we're not going to get into it today, but that's why I keep saying that I truly believe he's the MVP of the Dolphins this year.
Which I told you, I won't argue with you, but I've still
I know.
I'll still pick the guy that
he has to get on the ball.
I still pick the guy who Danny, in my honest opinion, takes the blame completely for us losing this game, and I put that on Tua's shoulder. Now, let me follow that up with, I put it on his shoulders, but I'm not upset about it, because even the greats, and I'm not saying Tua's there yet, but even the greats have a bad game. And that's all it was to me, because it was so out of character to watch Tua miss wide open receivers. It was so out of character for me to see Tua think it looked like he was throwing to Randy Moss when he was throwing to Jalen Waddle. Like, Jalen Waddle was not 6'5", and he was putting this ball where Jalen Waddle had to consistently jump like 3 feet in the air to try to bring the ball back down. I don't know if you saw it from the angles of the all-22, but every single pass of Jalen Waddle, he had to jump up for that ball. The one that he got hurt on the sideline, he literally threw it high. Jalen Waddle had to jump up to get it, and then he got shoved to the ground, hurt his knee, had to go to the locker room directly after that. But there were so many uncharacteristics throws from Tua Tagovailoa that I'm like, he has to know that this is on him. Was that the same thing you were looking at?
Most definitely. But you know what I thought was really odd is when because I watched the game live, but I was flipping back and forth between that and a Colombian soccer game.
Yeah.
And when I watched it back, because I watched it a second time, I really wanted to focus in on Tua and how much pressure he was getting. And a lot of those
pressure.
Yeah, and a lot of those overthrows, there was no pressure around him. So I think that's what had me the most surprised, because when you have an uncharacteristic game, it's because something uncharacteristic is happening. You're seeing more pressure than usual, and you can't deal with it correctly. You're throwing off one foot. It's just something. There's an explanation. But I think what was most odd about this performance was that I don't have an explanation for his overthrows.
Nope.
Like, I don't see any good explanation. And I don't know if he came out and said, like, I just had a bad game, or if he gave an explanation, because for somebody that you think of as one of the more accurate quarterbacks in the league,
which he is,
I agree. You can see a pass or two like that, but it happened throughout the entire game. And I think that's what was like, that first interception wasn't on him, right? I forgot who the receiver was. I think it might have been Jeff Wilson. He slipped on it, and then
the guy got it right.
Yeah, but outside of that, all those overthrows, all on him, and I don't have an explanation for it.
I don't think anybody does, because you look at the Tua fans like Sam Ocho and Dan Orlovsky Emmanuel Ocho and Dan Orlovsky, who have RG3, who have been constant fans of Tua even before he started playing really well this season. Yep. They've always said this guy's got it. And even them, when they went back to the tape, they're like, we can't blame it on pressure, like you said, because Joey Bosa only got to him 3 times. And most of those times was after he's literally scanning for somewhere to throw that ball to. So again, that's why I'm not mad about it, because this isn't something he's done before.
Really? I'm sorry to cut you off, but no. I feel like that would be more reason to worry. If there was a reason for those overthrows, underthrows, maybe I wouldn't be as worried. But I think that would have me more worried that he did all of this without being in distress. Like, is there something meant? Like, was he too hyped for this game because he knew that there was so much pressure on this game? Because everybody's like, all right, you're finally playing against a good defense. Let's see what you got. And it got to his head. Like, do you think that might have been it?
The battered Jets fans of the world, along with every other person who's not a Dolphins fan, all said the same thing coming into this game.
Right.
Yeah, you've played nice, but you haven't really played anybody.
Right.
So the reason I'm not mad, let me answer that question first before you so nicely cut me off. The reason I'm not mad is because he's never done it before. Like this bad of a game as far as missing wide open guys and overthrowing people and throwing them so high. That's the first, and that's the reason I'm not mad. The second to that question is I think that had something to do with it. But Tua is such a down-to-earth guy that even when he wins, he doesn't get too hyped. Even when he loses, he doesn't take it like crushing his soul. He understood right after the game, said it in his press conference, this game is on me. Mike McDaniel even said, hey, there was a lot of things that I could have done from a coaching standpoint, and I get that other coaches have said it, but you know that when Coach McDaniel says something nowadays, he's being pretty blunt about it. Yeah, he likes to play around, but he'll take ownership right away when he fucks up. And they caught him. They caught him during the game, literally right next to his OC. He goes, I fucked up. And that's why I'm not upset. I'm not upset about this game because, Danny, and I texted you this during the game. I go, this defense has they have no factor in us losing this game because of how Tua was playing. Because guess what? If he makes those passes that he makes every other week that he's played up till now, with what you said, the lack of pressure getting to him, sir, you know how many more yards he would have had to end this game with? Like, he still had a pretty good yardage game. Granted, he threw the 2 picks, but he was still playing pretty good ball outside of those missed throws.
But that first pick wasn't on him. The second one was when he threw behind Tyreek Hill. But that first one wasn't. Now, I will tell you that second pick was the game clincher, in my opinion.
100%. I agree with you.
At that point, they had gone up. I think it was they went up 10, I believe, at that point.
Yeah.
And then they put him right in range for a field goal. And then at that point, you're fighting back from 13 down instead of just 10 down. So I think that was the clincher. But my only worry, like I said, would be that I don't have an explanation. I understand that you say you're not upset because it never happens, but when it happens this bad, it's just I feel like there has to be something more to it. And again, hopefully for you guys there isn't, and he comes out against the Chargers, which isn't as good of a defense as the Niners is.
Correct.
He plays a little more within himself, and
they give up like 400 yards a game, so I'm really not worried about their defense in this one at all. But let's talk about something real quick. I don't know if you noticed, because I don't know if you watch. I know you watch them. Like, I know you watch the games very closely so you could get together with me and we could have a good show about it. But let me ask you, did you see him coming back after throwing that second interception and the look on his face? Like, he knew he fucked up. But then the fact is, he got in the field and he huddled his guys. He's like, I got this. And he got him right down the field. And then he completed that beautiful bomb to Tyreek Hill over the top. And when I saw that, I said, too little, too late. 1, but 2, that's what you want to see from your quarterback. Yep, I've had a rough game, but this is the real me. Something else got to me, and I wasn't able to play the type of game that I'm able to play. But right there at the very end, no matter that if it was at the end of the game, it was that change of character in him. He goes, yep, I fucked up, but let me show you, I still got it in me. And the way he got us down the field, that's another reason why I wasn't upset, because that's what I want my quarterback. I don't want somebody like Josh Rosen going down there throwing 3 picks and looking like Zach Wilson. This guy came back onto the field and said, I got this. And he got them right down the field. I get it. We're gonna talk about the defense now. But I mean, as far as what he looked like, that's all I needed to see for me to say, you know what? It is what it is.
Since we're gonna talk about the defense later, I'll save what I was gonna say.
Right. Because I knew you wanted to tickle him a little bit.
Yeah, no. But I will say that when there was about 8 minutes left and they were driving, right? And they were down by 6.
Yeah.
I had no doubt in my mind at that point that the Dolphins were going to win that game.
You texted me that, yeah.
That they were going to win that game and that Tua was going to salvage this poor game, and everybody was going to be like, he recovered, he played, he was the hero at the end. Yep. And I really thought that. And if Gesicki catches that ball on 4th down, I still think that they managed to go down the field and they take the lead.
By the way, wasn't that a great effort on his part? Like, people are like, oh, Gesicki should have caught that. That was great defense, 1. And then second of all, he had the ball literally like caved against his helmet, trying to still take that ball in. For me,
again, should have had it though.
You're the unbiased guy here, but from my point of view, I think he did everything he could to be able to catch that ball.
Look, you know,
and retain the ball as best as possible. You are, but you're not a Dolphins guy. Do you think he did everything possible to get that ball in bounds? I don't think there's anything else he could have done.
Well, that's why I prefaced it as I'm a Gesicki guy. I like Gesicki. I wanted him on my team in the offseason. I remember I told you that's what I was hoping to get.
You still might get him, by the way.
No, we're good. I I think yes, he did everything he could at that moment, but I think he still should have caught it. Like in that moment, running the flats, you got to catch that ball before you go out of bounds. You can't let that. I was disappointed. I remember I texted you right after that catch, and I said, "You see, there goes Gesicki. You got to get him more involved." Because I was convinced that it was a catch, and I texted you immediately. I was like, "You see, this is what you get with Gesicki when you involve him." And then he made me look like shit because then they showed the replay, and I was like, "God damn it."
Too soon.
Yeah,
but I agree with you. I think that he still needs to be an integral part of this offense. I get it. He can block, but you know what? Run a few 2 tight ends plays for him. You have Durham Smythe to be your blocker. Put him on the opposite side. Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, like a play where Trent Sherfield's not in it, and you run a 2 tight end system. Jeff Wilson in the backfield. You got Jalen Waddle on one side, Tyreek Hill on the other. I know Mike McDaniel is a genius, and I get it. The system isn't predicated on people who can block, but there has to be a way you could get that talented tight end involved. But again, enough of the offense. You're right. He should have caught that ball.
Well, before that play, 3rd down, the ball gets batted down. It's 3rd and 2nd.
Oh, yeah.
I understand that Monday morning quarterback is easy, right? After it doesn't work, then you can question it. But to get to 3rd and 2, they ran the ball. I think it was Raheem Mostert, and he got like 8 yards.
He did.
In my mind, I was like, run it again.
We're going to talk about that running game.
But you guys are anti-run. Like, you guys are playing Madden out there. And that's always been my thing with Mike McDaniel. He likes to play Madden. When you play against people that aren't skilled in Madden, what do they like to do? Let's just fucking throw the ball. That shit's fun as fuck. Nobody likes to run.
I don't know if Nelson's watching right now, but you also have people like Nelson who like running the ball 98 times in a game because he can't pass.
People that aren't good at Madden just love passing.
Well, right? I would say he's not good at Madden because all he does is run the ball because he can't pass it.
Okay. Well, I mean, there's 2 extremes, I guess.
Right.
But again, I thought that 3rd and 2nd, they should have tried to run it. They tried the pass play, the pass got knocked down. That left you in 4th and 2. And at that point, I guess, maybe you don't want to run against the best run defense in the league. Like, everybody was like, why didn't we run more? The Niners are literally the best run defense in the league.
And they showed it. So I know we're going to talk about it, but they showed it.
So it's hard. But at that point, you had a guy in 8 yards. Fuck it, just try it. If your mind is already set, like, I'm going to go for it on 4th down anyway, why not try it?
Let me ask you a question. When we're down by 6, and I get it, we're down by 6, but he goes for it, and he goes for it on 4th and like 3 from his own 18-yard line. Were you thinking, here goes his mother lover again with his cojones?
Yes, but I've been telling you that also all year. Like,
right, I was thinking about
bite you in the ass.
As soon as he stayed on the field, and we're at our own 18, I'm like, Danny's gonna kill me on this one on the show if he doesn't get it.
But he got it.
But that was the Tua effect that I said. He came on that field and he was so ready, Danny. Like, he's like, I'm getting us down the field this drive. And granted, he did. Know,
but that's the thing. It could be the Tua effect all you want, but Gesicki could drop a ball. Like, it's possible to drop balls, as you saw on 4th and 2. Like, so going for it on 4th down at your own 18, not the best idea. I get that you got it, so everybody's like, but we got it. I know, but you keep playing with fire, you're going to get burned.
For sure. But let's talk about something that I know you love talking about. How did you feel? I'm going to literally leave the floor to you here. I hope you have all the feedback in the world on this one. How did you feel when the defense made Mr. Irrelevant look like Joe Montana out there, sir?
My issue with the Dolphins defense is that they're still playing a lot of man coverage when they don't have the personnel to play man coverage.
Fair.
Xavier Howard is not Xavier Howard from past. I understand that he got an interception, and we can get into that also because he shouldn't have gotten that interception.
He shouldn't have gotten it.
But we'll get into that in a second. But you guys shouldn't be playing man coverage. There's no reason why Duke Riley should be manning up on Christian McCaffrey. Absolutely none. And that kept happening in the first half.
Can I ask you a question, right? Because I know you got more. But because I saw people killing Duke Riley. But let me ask you a question.
No, you can't.
Christian McCaffrey's killing everybody. He kills
linebackers. Killed the defensive coordinator for that.
He kills linebackers. He kills corners. He kills Christian McCaffrey's almost unguardable. So when I saw people be like, "Oh, Duke Riley sucks," it's fucking Christian McCaffrey. But that's all right. Go ahead. It's your turn.
You could put Sauce Gardner on him, and maybe he'll do a lot better. But Christian McCaffrey's going to get his here and there because he's that guy. So you cannot have Duke Riley on him. So I thought the defensive coordinator did a poor job there.
He did.
In the red zone, was it the first touchdown or the second touchdown where they were playing man coverage out on the left side?
Right.
And they had the safety defending Christian McCaffrey, but the safety's all the way at the back of the end zone. It's like, if you're going to man up somebody like Christian McCaffrey, you might want to be a little closer to him.
Let me ask you a question about that, because you've always told me the hardest part is getting into the red zone when the field shrinks. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking of this when I'm looking at the play, and I'm thinking, why is the safety all the way back there? If you're going to make the field shrink, you have to man this guy up at the fucking line. As soon as he releases from that backfield, you need to be in his face. I'm mind blown that wasn't what happened.
If you're playing a zone coverage, that makes a little more sense if you have somebody playing the flats. But they were manning up there.
They were.
So if you're going to man up.
Yes.
Find your man, get in front of him.
Yes.
So I think the Dolphins defense frustrated me a lot from a lot of aspects in this game.
Besides making Brock Purdy look like an all-star.
Look, again, he didn't look that great. When I really watched the game over again, he made some throws. There was one where Jalen Phillips was in his grill, and he somehow hit. I forgot who he hit.
Brandon Ayuk. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Ayuk.
Yeah.
Yes.
He hit him right down the middle, which was that was a
beautiful
play
play
he had all
beautiful
game.
Play.
But I think the running game more than anything killed you guys.
Well, it's Christian McCaffrey. And then
that kid Mason was running up and down the field on you guys also.
I expected to lose to Christian McCaffrey in the running game. I didn't expect us to lose to Brock Purdy in the passing game.
When Jimmy Garoppolo went down and they had the field goal, right? Because they're already in field goal range, and you find out he's not coming back, and you guys are up 7-3. What were you thinking? Because I know what I was thinking. What were you thinking?
I'm thinking, all right, so if the game was going to be easy before, in the aspect of like just coming on the field in 10 seconds and scoring on them, I'm like, all right, now they're going to have trouble putting points up. And even if we struggle against your defense, being that they have a 7th round last pick quarterback coming in, we should have way more opportunities to get into the end zone than they do. And boy, was I wrong.
Well, that was my thing. You guys, when he went out, I was like, well, they got the lead.
Yes.
So if you have the lead, and now you have, what was his first name? Brock Purdy?
Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy. The only Purdy I know of went out of existence in Miami a couple years ago. Purdy Lounge. Shout out to Purdy Lounge. You still love
Purdy Lounge.
So ever since that went away, I hadn't heard about Purdy till this Sunday. And when he came into the game, I said, they got a 7-3 lead.
You said who?
I wish I had the Conor McGregor thing.
Who the fuck is this guy?
I was like, all they have to do is hold on tight. Like, no, you might have to score more,
right.
But like with your offense, you should be able to put up 14, 17 points against the 49ers' tough defense. Like, that's just is what it is. So I was really surprised that you guys lost. I really was. And then let me get on Xavier Howard a second.
Go for it.
Xavier Howard hasn't had the best of years. He has not.
And I don't want to say we've killed him. Killed him, but we've made it known.
We've mentioned it. He hasn't played like he has. So when the Niners are 4th in, I think it was like 4 or something, at the 41, and it's 4th down, you have a really good chance to have a turnover on downs and basically start the drive from midfield.
Yep.
And Brock Purdy throws up a prayer. You have to know the situation of football.
Yeah.
You're catching that ball inside your own 20. You have a chance to start the drive at the 50 almost. It's like the 43, 44, something like that.
I heard the announcer. Go ahead.
Why do you go ahead and catch it? You catch it, I would assume. Some people might say off of instinct. I say, I've had a shitty year. This is my chance to finally get some. No, that's his first pick all year, isn't it?
I think it's his second pick all year.
Okay. So maybe it's his second. But in my opinion, I think it was a little selfish. And maybe some people will kill me for saying that. I get it. Maybe it is ball instincts because he's a ball hawk. That's what he's been in the past.
Yes.
But situational football, when you need to help your offense out because your offense
knocked that ball down. You knocked the ball down.
Your offense is playing like dog shit right now, which isn't normal for them. So you need to help them out. How do you help them out? Give them good field position. You know what you did? You gave them worse field position. You lost 25 yards on that. And the very first play on that next offensive drive for the Dolphins, they got a first down. If they would have started almost at the 50, they would have been on their side of the field. Yep. Another first down, and you're in field goal range. But you ended up, I don't know if they ended up punting that drive. I know they didn't score on it. I don't know if it was a turnover or a punt, but I know 100% they didn't score. So you might have taken 3 points off the board just because you wanted to get a pick. So that's what I took away from that Xavier Howard play.
And it's hard to argue against you because I heard the announcers right away. Like, I wasn't watching the TV when it happened, but all I know is I heard, interception by Xavier Howard, and I'm excited because I'm hearing it, and I'm like, all right, great, we got the ball back, here we go. And then I hear, if he would have just knocked it down, they could have got the ball at the freaking 49-yard line.
Yeah, something like that. It was 40-something, huh?
I was like, shit. Yes. Like, Xavier Howard, I would agree with you that if he's having a bad season as a third, fourth-year player, yes. He wasn't even thinking. He's like, I'm a ball hawk. I'm going to grab this ball. He's in his 8th season. You should know better.
Right.
You should definitely know better. I know you had a clip to show.
Did he celebrate that?
He didn't celebrate.
I don't remember if he celebrated it.
He got up, walked a little bit with a little strut, but I wouldn't say he celebrated.
I had a clip. I meant to play it at the beginning of the episode, but we could play it now if you'd like.
Let's do it.
I thought that it was the epitome of how your team played on Sunday.
Our defense.
Yes. Yeah. This is
here when everybody's coming. All right, yeah. There's 4 guys. What do you do now? Just duck, get low, and then hope you come through the other side. Oh, thank goodness Landon Roberts was there, or Deebo Samuel might have taken that one to the house.
Oh, my.
And that would have been one that you would see on repeat for years.
If that is not the epitome of what your defense looked like on Sunday, like, I put it all in 20-second clip. That basically tells the story.
I agree. But this is what I took from it, that this was a learning game. Okay. Everything that could potentially go wrong for you when something is your strong suit.
That's true.
When everything could potentially go wrong for you, this is what you learn. Mm-hmm. Tua, whatever was in your head before this game started, whatever overhypeness that was in your head, like, I don't think it was overhypeness because that's not Tua's percent. I don't think he gets overhyped. I think he was overthinking the importance of this game. Like,
it's possible.
I don't think, like, his dad, like, if you ever read, I don't know if you watch any of his Netflix documentary, and you can see the type of,
he has a Netflix documentary.
He does, and his dad doesn't allow him to, like, get too high. Like, even from when he was in school winning championships, he's like, no, son, you don't celebrate this. Like, he keeps him as grounded as possible. So I don't think it was hypeness. I think he overthought the importance of this game. So that's what I'm going to go with. That this game was a learning game, and he overthought it way too much. I think Mike McDaniel overthought it too much because, again, you're going back to play your mentor, somebody that you've been with for like 20 plus years. Like, you worked for his dad once upon a time. So I think there was a litany of things that made this game bigger than what it was. Because technically it was just another game. Because, Danny, we still have another 5 games left in the season. So
Mike's still in a great position.
Right. And I think we're the 5th seed right now, if I'm not mistaken. I know that the Chiefs lost. Bills took that number 1 spot. Hopefully the Jets come through in the clutch and knock them out again. But that for me, this is what it was. It was a learning game. You said before, Tua was Tua's undefeated, now goes down the hole. That pressure.
Well, you could still say Tua is undefeated in games that he starts and finishes.
You could. But what I'm saying is, I'm not too sure if I would make a big deal out of this loss. Like, you know that I'm as even keel as possible. If I think something looks bad, I'm going to tell you it looked bad. I honestly, when the game was over, I'm like, we know why we lost. Something that Tua never does, and he won't do it. My question to you is, and it goes, well, unless you have a point about it being a learning game, I'm going to lead into something else, which I'm excited to talk about. But what was this game to you after it was all over, said and done?
I think this is more of an opportunity for Dolphins haters to talk shit.
For sure. I
don't think Dolphin fans should feel as bad because up until now, when have you guys had a bad performance?
Exactly.
You've had a bad performance against the Jets, kind of, even though you guys played with your second or third quarterback tight all the way into the fourth quarter.
Right.
The Vikings, okay. Other than that, even the Ravens game, when you had a bad first three quarters, you came out and blew up in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I don't think you guys have had a bad showing all throughout one game like you did this past Sunday.
Right.
Everybody's due. You have to see good teams come, and you know that they're a good team when you see how they respond to adversity. This is adversity. This was a bad game. And you know that this was an important game because everybody was like, okay, let's see how you are against some good competition. So now you have to see how they respond. Now, we've been saying for a few weeks now that these 3 games, at least for me, is kind of what I wanted to see.
For everybody. For everybody.
Right, because those 5 past games, that was cute and all, but everybody want to see how you guys looked against actual playoff contenders. So game 1 is out the books. It was kind of weird because you, instead of losing to Jimmy G, you lost to Purdy, but that's fine. Yeah. You had a bad game, uncharacteristic game. Now you have another game coming up against the Chargers. I've always thought that you guys were going to lose against the Niners and the Bills anyway, but that you beat the Chargers. Yeah. Now, if you guys go 0-3 in the next 3 games, then I think that you might want to reevaluate how you look at this team. Until you go 0-3, I don't see it.
Right. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But I was thinking the same thing, and I'm glad you said it instead of me. I was having a conversation with our mutual friend, and I told him, I go, losing to the Niners isn't as big as what people are making it out to be. Like, again, like you said, Tua had an off game. If we go on the road and lose 3 straight, now you have to really question, like you said, are we really as good as we thought we were? Mm-hmm. Or is this a whole Dennis Green moment? You know? It's like, we let him off the hook. And it's basically what I don't think we're that. I think like you. I think there was a potential of us losing to the Niners. Mm-hmm. But after the loss, I was like, no, we should have beat the Niners if different things go our way.
If Gesicki catches that ball, I'm still convinced that you guys go all the way down the field.
I agree with you. I think we go into Sunday Night Football, and we beat Justin Herbert in LA.
I agree.
And I know we're gonna preview that now. And then the Bills game. Here's my thing with the Bills, and I discussed it with you yesterday. But before we started previewing Miami and Chargers, Danny, my thing with the Bills is I used to fear them a little bit, right? But you guys,
they seem beatable,
right? You guys, regardless of what the Jets are, I've said you guys have a great defense. Mm-hmm. Is it like top 5 great defense? I think it's getting there. But the fact that you guys showed the rest of the league, here's how you beat them: you neutralize Stephon Diggs, and you make Josh Allen be the only one that could beat you. And the only way he scored on you that game was with his legs. He could not get into the end zone passing the rock. He couldn't get down the field passing the rock if you guys took away Stephon Diggs from him. So I think because you guys showed the blueprint of how to potentially beat these guys, and then them losing again after playing you, I'm not as scared as that Buffalo game as some people might be. That's kind of why I picked you guys, just because I selfishly want you guys to beat them. But I think I don't agree with that 9.5 spread that going into the game that you guys have against them. Like, I don't believe that they're 9.5 points better than the New York Jets.
Maybe if this was week 1 or week 2, when we thought that the Bills were far and away the best team in the NFL, right? They just seem beatable. Now, if they come in and hang 50 on the Jets this week, and they're like, okay, they're back, right? But until they show me that, I'm also not scared of them. So, and I don't think any team should be scared of them, honestly.
For sure. All right, so let's preview this. By the way, our game was flexed to Sunday Night Football.
Oh, and before we start previewing, one last thing about why we shouldn't take this Dolphins game as Bible.
Go for it.
Before this game, Tua had thrown 193 straight passes without throwing a pick. 193 straight passes. Then he threw 2 in a row. That's not happening again.
Exactly.
He's accurate. He doesn't make mistakes. You don't throw 193 and then throw 2 in a row. Like, it's just a crazy coincidence. Like, everything, like you said, that could have gone wrong did go wrong. Yeah. There was before he threw that first interception, he had a pass out to, I think it was it Mostert or Wilson? He took it into the 10-yard inside the 10-yard line. You guys probably could have scored a touchdown there. Then you had a holding call, called it back, and then he threw the pick. Like, everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong. You guys had your chances to win.
That throw as well that you mentioned, when Jeff Wilson did the wheel route off to his left-hand side, the one that if he puts that on the dime, Jeff Wilson is by himself. He beat the linebacker with no safety help. And I'm like, when he missed that shot, which he completes 100 times out of 100, I was like, this is telling that it's just him having a bad game.
Well, he completed 99 out of 100.
Yeah, okay, well, fair enough. But let's talk about Sunday Night Football because we got flex of Sunday Night Football. I know that you love that. I know you love the fact that you're able to sit down and just watch a Dolphins and not have to worry about any other game. But then we also got flexed next week, and we got flexed Saturday Night Football when we play the Buffalo Bills. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about this Chargers game. We already beat Justin Herbert once. And Danny, Justin Herbert hasn't been looking good this season at all whatsoever. And I get
he hasn't looked bad, but he hasn't looked like a fucking Pro Bowler either.
He hasn't looked like the rookie of the year, Justin Herbert. So when I look at this game, their defense is trash. Their defense is trash. Justin Herbert isn't playing great ball. The running back's name escapes me. I feel like that's really the only problem on that team. Help me out here with the running back's name. For the
Eckler.
Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler. I felt like that's the only problem that the Chargers have had this year. That Austin Eckler is a G. You know, he plays good ball. But outside of that, Justin Herbert hasn't looked good. Tua's already beat them. And I mean the Chargers, because obviously the quarterbacks don't play against each other. But here's my biggest issue. And this is where I leave it back to you, because you love talking about my Dolphins defense. We made Brock Purdy look pretty good. Do you think this is a setup game for Justin Herbert, who hasn't looked good, to now come out and have a pretty good game?
I think there's a good chance. I think that any quarterback going into a game against, I mean, if you were playing in Miami, it would be different. But when you have Miami coming in and you look at the numbers, everybody looks at it as like, this is my chance to finally get off.
Right. So,
yes, I think that Justin Herbert, one, looks at it as a chance to get off against your defense. Yeah. Two, maybe Tua doesn't say it or admit it, and maybe he doesn't because you said he's very humble. Right. Justin Herbert looks like the type that might look at this and say, I used to be the talk of that class, or at least second next to Joe Burrow, but now everybody's talking about how Tua was the right decision over me, and Herbert might want to come out and prove people wrong.
Yeah.
So I think Herbert's definitely going to come out slinging and hope to light up the Dolphins.
So the Dolphins, it's weird here. The Dolphins are 3-point favorites at the Chargers. Right. Yeah. We're 3-point favorites on the road. ESPN has the Chargers as 56% favorites to win this game.
Because they're home.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I think because of how good they make Brock Purdy look, they're like, well, Justin Herbert's a little bit better than that guy.
A little bit.
So he could, like you said, show off. So when I think about this game, I'm like, yeah, there's a potential to lose. There's potential for us to lose any week. But that's the only factor I'm worried about. That because we made Brock Purdy look so good, there's a good chance that this could be a shootout. And it could be Justin Herbert and Tua literally going at it for 4 quarters, which would be great for Sunday Night Football, by the way. I'm sure that if people get a Bills versus Chiefs game like last year in the playoffs on Sunday Night Football, nobody's going to complain about that. I'm going to be at the edge of my seat, either like hemorrhoids popping out or just getting a stroke from how excited I am. But Danny, let's pick this game. I'll go first and then drop it in your hands. Usually I defend them, the defense. I don't think I can this week.
Okay.
The Chargers are still averaging 22.7 points a game in the litany of other teams they've played. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The Dolphins are allowing 24.1 points per game. That spells a little bit danger to me. Am I going to pick the Dolphins to win? Yes, I am picking the Dolphins to win this game. But I think it's going to have to be that type of game. It's going to be a type of game where Tua is on the dime the whole entire game because Justin Herbert's going to take advantage of our weaknesses. I'm not saying that he's a god, but I think that our defense is ripe for the taking right now. So me going into this game, by the way, the over-under is 52 points. I'm going to take the over on this. I think the Dolphins had to put up somewhere in the vicinity of 38 points, kind of like how they did against the Bears.
I think the Dolphins are going to light it up, huh?
Yeah, I think they'll put up like 38 points. I don't know if they'll flirt with 41. I kind of like 41, but I think they win this game like 38-27. 31. That's kind of the feeling that I have, that I feel like the defense hasn't shown anyone that when they're on the road, they can stop anybody. And Justin Herbert also has legs, by the way. He could run out of the pocket. And we've already shown Justin Fields ran on us for like 290
he's
yards.
Not Justin Fields.
I get it. But what I'm saying, he could get out of the pocket. Brock Purdy wasn't doing that against us. Justin Fields, God dang it. Justin Herbert has that capability of getting out of the pocket and getting some good yardage. So for those reasons, I'm still picking the Dolphins to win because I feel like we have the better offense and we could take advantage of their shitty defense. But I think that Justin Herbert's going to be able to take advantage of our shitty defense as well, the way that we're playing on the road. But I still think that we put up enough points to leave LA with a win, come back to Miami, and prepare for the Buffalo Bills. What say you, sir?
Over the last 6 games, the Chargers are 2-4. They need a win desperately to stay in the playoff hunt because they're falling behind.
They're 6-6.
With that said, they're middle of the pack on their pass defense. They're almost last in run defense. I don't know if Mike McDaniel is finally going to stop playing Madden and start strategizing and running the ball. If he starts running the ball like he can against a bad Chargers run defense, if he can run the ball against a bad run Chargers defense, I think that will go a long way in helping you guys out. Not that you need help because you have crazy weapons, but
I didn't know. By the way, I didn't know that stat. They give up 230. No, wait, hold on. They give up 151 on the ground. So
they're like the fourth worst. They're like the fourth worst. So you guys could and should be able to run on them a lot. But I know.
So heavy Dolphins, Jess Wilson, and Raheem Mostert is what you're thinking.
Not necessarily heavy, but like a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, can we run it?
Like make them fear the run, so the play action is there.
So because I understand that Tyreek Hill and Jaden and Waddle and all of them can get open, but like it helps if you have play action as an option,
and it helps your offensive line as well.
Especially because your offensive line isn't very good right now.
Sure.
Even though they gave Tua a pretty good time last week.
Yes, he did.
But so I think it's 2 subpar defenses playing against each other. So it's going to come down to the offenses. Who can outscore the other? Yeah. I think that you guys have obviously the better offense. You guys have the best offensive weapons, I think, in the league.
Yeah.
I think that Tua gets back on his stuff. If he starts overthrowing people and playing like he did last week, then you got a serious issue. But I don't see that happening.
I don't see it.
I think he comes out. He's going to be accurate. I think you guys can hang. You said 38. I was more or less. I think you guys 35 and the Chargers 30. 35 to 30. I think you guys can win this game. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch. It's going to be an exciting game to watch. And it's like I said, it's going to be moving the ball up and down the field. Now, how cool would it be if you guys end up not winning because Mike McDaniel goes for it on 4th down on your side of the field, and I get to come on here and be like, you see, I told you so. I told you eventually it was going to cost you.
If he wouldn't have taken ownership the way he did last week, I would say, all right, you know what? There's a possibility that could happen. I think as prepared as Tua is going to be, Mike McDaniel is going to be that much more prepared, because you could probably get away with saying you could put a lot of blame on Tua, but I wouldn't put that much blame on Mike McDaniel because a lot of people forget he is a first-year head coach. Like before, if he would call something in that the head coach doesn't like, he could be like, let's run something else. I'm not saying that Kyle Shanahan did it all the time, but I'm saying there's that second guy to tell you, hey, by the way, I don't think we should go that route. I'm going to call this instead. He doesn't have that. So he has to go through those growing pains. And again, because he took ownership the way he did last week, I think Mike McDaniel is going to come out with a great game plan.
And let's be clear that last week the Chargers lost to the Raiders.
Yeah, I know. To the
So
Raiders, man.
It's either they're not very good and you should be able to win, or they're going to come out hungry as hell because they need this dub and they're looking to get some blood.
The Raiders are winning right now, by the way, 13-3 against the Los Angeles Rams. But the Los Angeles Rams are a 3-win team.
Baker Mayfield is playing, is he?
Is he? I don't know.
They said there was a chance he would play.
I'll tell you right now, but he is playing 4 of 10 for 70 yards so far.
He was traded there like on Monday or picked up on Monday.
Picked up in waivers. But Danny, I appreciate you joining me on the live stream today. I think that it is going to be an exciting game. I think we're gonna be talking about a Dolphins victory next week, but it's gonna prep both of our shows perfectly because you're going to be coming off just playing the Bills, and you're going to be able to talk about here's what we saw, here's what you guys could potentially do to take advantage of the situation, because we both play them now in Buffalo. They literally play you guys in Buffalo and then play us in Buffalo. I think
this could be crucial for the Bills.
Yeah. Can you imagine? I'm not. Again, we're thinking too far ahead, but can you imagine they lose to you and then they also lose to us?
That would be pretty awesome.
Wouldn't that be awesome? Oh my God, that would be great.
That would be awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know for the 3 to 7 people who have been here so far, I appreciate you guys joining the Battered Phins Fans Podcast live, episode 14. This was the Battered Jets fan, Danny G. I am the bearded fanatic, Manny P. And we're going to catch you guys next week. Fins up, definitely getting a dub this week.
Definitely, yeah.
I hate you.
Catch you next week.